Guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm sorry we haven't made a video in a while, but today I'm on my mage. He's only 85. This is a guide for Mist of Pandaria on live for the Frost Mage, and later on I'll be doing the Fire Mage, and I'll also be doing a guide on the Arcane Mage, all of which have changed and all of which changed drastically at 90, so I'm sorry I can't show you a guide at 90, but once I get my mage to 90, eventually, I will do another guide at 90 to show you these three new abilities. But I will start off this video by going through the new talents, which ones I've chosen and why, and I'll also go through a brief explanation of what the final abilities do. Okay, so level 15, this is your mobility tier. So you have Presence of Mind, Scorch, and Ice Flows. Scorch, the old favourite from Fire, is what we've been used to for many years playing mages, and you use it, you run around casting it. It used to be a talent that you could have where you would make it a faster cast time and also castable while moving in the old Fire tree, but now it's just an ability that you can be cast while moving. Ice Flows allows you to move while casting and channeled, and channeling the next two mage spells that have a base cast or time less than 4 seconds. This spell may be cast while a cast time spell is in progress and is not on the globe cooldown. It's a good ability, but I would say that one is probably best for ice if it's a high mobility fight, but for single target I've gone for Presence of Mind because this is going to be a guide for pure single target DPS. Now, the one that I've chosen is Presence of Mind because you activate it and you get a free instant cast spell, which will usually be Frost Firebolt. It won't necessarily be a crit, which I'll explain later, which is also important, but you will get a free Frost Firebolt usually, depending on what you want to cast, but it should be a Frost Firebolt. Then, next is the shielding tier. So you've got Temporal Shield, Blazing Speed, and Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier instantly shields you, absorbing 38,000 damage, lasts a minute while the shield holds. Spellcasting will not be delayed by damage. Blazing Speed is awful, don't pick that ever, it's pathetic. And Temporal Shield envelops you in a temporal shield for 4 seconds. Damage taken while shielded will be healed back over 6 seconds. This spell is usable while stunned, frozen, incapacitated, field, or asleep, and is not on the global cooldown. So if you're stunned in a raid or in PvP, you hit that, and then whatever damage you take while you're stunned, you'll be healed for. So the healers won't have to do any extra healing. Then next you've got Ring of Frost, Ice Ward, and Frost Jaw. This is the CC tier. I've gone for Ring of Frost because it's the more it's the old classic. It's Ring of Frost. Everyone loves it. You can put it down on the ground. People who run into it get frozen. Ice Ward was a close second for me. You place an Ice Ward on a friendly target, which could be yourself. When an enemy strikes the target, all enemies within 10 yards will become frozen in place for 5 seconds. So great for PvP. If someone hits you while you're while you've got Ice Ward up on yourself, they'll get frozen themselves. And then Frostjaw Silence is a silence, but you've got silences, you've got Counterspell, and you've also got Spell Steal. Then the third one is another sort of survivability-ish tier. There's Greater Invisibility, which is very, very similar to Dispersion, but you've already got normal invisibility, so I don't see the point. Then you've got Cauterize, an attack which would otherwise kill you will instead bring you to 50% of your maximum health. Old favourite from Fire, I love it. And it'll also do damage. It'll burn you for 40% of your maximum health over the next 6 seconds. So it'll stop you getting insta-hit, but it'll give the healers time. So if it's like a big boss ability and it just hits you incredibly hard, then that'll activate and it'll bring you back up to 50%, and then the healer's got time to heal you up. Then you've got Cold Snap. When activated, this spell finishes the cooldown of your Ice Block, Frost Nova, and Cone of Cold spells. Instantly restores 30% of your health. It's a self-heal for Frost. I don't like it as much as Cauterize because when you're raiding, you don't want to have to heal yourself. Okay, then you've got the Dot tier. You've got Living Bomb, old favourite from Fire, and I think that's the one I'm going to go for with the Fire tree because it also helps you with Pyroblast procs, etc. But then you've got Nether Tempest, which is a really, really good dot. It's an AoE dot as well. So if it's a high AoE fight with lots of adds, you hit that and it'll bounce from target to target, and you'll be doing so much AoE damage. It's ridiculous. But for single target, again, for Frost anyway, I've gone for Frost Bomb because when this So this puts a dot on the target, but while it's on the target, it'll be doing damage, and once it finishes, you'll get a free insta-cast Frost Firebolt, which is a guaranteed crit. Now, I'm only 85, but I've seen people at 90 crit for up to 70k with a free Frost Firebolt, which is insane. Then the level 90 tier, you've got Invocation, Rune of Power, and Incanter's Ward. Invocation is basically Evocation, but you get a damage boost at the end. It makes you rethink your entire class if you pick that, so it's good, but it's also not good, because you'll be wasting DPS time in the middle of your rotation, because you'll have to stop your rotation, hit Invocation, hit Evocation even, and then you'll have a big DPS boost afterwards for 40 seconds, which is a long time, but I don't think it's worth it, considering I haven't seen mages run out of mana yet. And then Rune of Power, this is the one I would go for at level 90. You place a Rune of Power on the ground. You can have up to 2 at once. So if there's, for instance, in the Zonoz fight in Dragon Soul, you have, as a ranged, you have a point which you stand at before before that big ability goes off, and then you all have to move in together, and then you can have another one where you have to move it in, which is fantastic. So you have that, and while it's on the ground, your mana regen is increased by 100%, and the spell damage you do is increased by 15%, which is fantastic. That also replaces Evocation though, but I don't see the big deal. I think that's a fantastic ability, and that's what I would go for. Incanter's Ward, I feel, is a more PvP ability, because it places a magical ward on yourself, absorbing damage. It's another shield, and all absorbed damage will restore up to 18% of your maximum mana. When this effect ends, you gain up to 30% spell damage for 15 seconds. But passive, you get increased spell damage by 6%, increased mana regen by 65%, and this effect is deactivated while Incanter's Wards is on cooldown. So that will always be up. You'll always have an extra 6%, which is good, but I still prefer Rune of Power, because especially for Arcane, you can sit there and you can just spam Arcane Blast, which is fantastic. Okay, so let's get into the rotation. Now, these are your cooldowns. You have Time Warp, the old classic, but you don't want to be using that in your single target rotation. You have Mirror Image, you have Icy Veins, and you have Presence of Mind. Those are your 3 main cooldowns, because that one is raid cooldown, which you don't want to be using all the time. So you have Frozen Orb, which is a lot like what's it called? Is it Flame Orb for fire? And that is a fantastic ability. So it's one of the best DPS abilities in the game at the moment. So you hit that, and it'll do damage for you while it's up. It'll do AoE damage and single target damage. It's fantastic. And you've got Frost Bomb. You want to have that every time it comes off cooldown. And so basically, your rotation is just spam Frost Firebolt. Every time Frost Bomb comes off cooldown, you hit it. And then when either Frost Firebolt or Ice Lance procs, that's when you hit those. So let's get into it. So start off with Mirror Image, Icy Veins, and Frostbolt, Frost Bomb, Ice Bomb, Frostbolt, Frostbolt. So there's your free Frost Firebolt. Then you got your Ice Lance, and you spam it, and then you can have your Presence of Mind spam. You get your free Frost Firebolt. See, and look how much damage I'm checking out. It's ridiculous. There's so much damage, and from what I've heard from the theory crafters, Frost is now the best DPS rotation out there. It's the best DPS spec for mages, and it's incredible. Also, your pet is doing ridiculous amounts of damage for you, so you just spam Frostbolt until your stuff comes off cooldown. Ice Lance will randomly proc as long as you're pressing Frostbolt, and then when your Frost Bomb comes off, when your Frost Bomb expires on the target, you'll get a free Frost Firebolt. And this is as simple as the rotation is, but you do ridiculous damage, and it is a lot of fun trying to manage your procs, trying to manage your cooldowns, trying to manage everything coming off cooldown. And you're a mage, so everyone loves you, because you have loads of maneuverability. You don't stand in stuff because you have blink, so I'm standing in stuff, blink to the target, and then you're right up in the target's face. It's fantastic. And blink is another one of those abilities where, for instance, in that Zonoz fight, you can blink from one Incanter's Ward, you can blink from one Rune of Power to the other, which is incredible, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. So that is what I would go for, and that is the talents I would go for, and this is the rotation. So thank you all for watching. I've been Andrew from Murloc Studios, and I will see you all next time. Bye.